Welcome back, everyone, to the Balance Podcast. I'm your co-host, Micah.
Oh, right. I'm Chris.
He's Chris. And today we decided to review and talk about The Man Who Fell to Earth, starring David Bowie. Now, the reason we chose...
David
frickin' Bowie. We chose this film because David Bowie passed away in 2016 on January 10th. So we just kind of wanted to pay a little respect and see his first film. And it was quite an interesting one, wasn't it?
It was quite an interesting film. And I think, he's important in a lot of different aspects, and TV and film and music, obviously, and just as an icon in general. So we'll probably do a few other things here and there, just kind of acknowledgement of what he gave us in his art form.
Yeah, so this is just the start of it. I hope you enjoy it. We enjoyed talking about it. Bizarre film, interesting as hell.
Watch it, but don't have your kids around.
Do not have your kids around.
He referred to the prophecy of the one who will bring balance.
We will bring balance. Perfectly balanced. This whole thing should.
And between it all, balance.
David Bowie.
David Bowie. So we watched The Man Who Fell to Earth, which stars David Bowie in his first role in a film. And it is quite the spectacle. I really didn't know what to expect. Did you? Going into it, did you know what was coming?
No, not at all. I didn't know anything about it. I hadn't looked up anything about it. I had never even, maybe I'd heard of it in passing, but when you came up with the idea to watch it, I don't think I had ever heard of it. So I had no idea, but I was excited because I am a huge sci-fi fan. But I also was a little apprehensive because it's an older movie. I'm not saying I'm against older films or anything. There's just a certain degree that when you've experienced technology and where we are now, if you didn't grow up with the movie and you don't have nostalgia towards it, sometimes it's hard to take seriously.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%. If Star Wars came out today and I, obviously hadn't seen it prior, I don't think I would enjoy it. The nostalgia factor is a huge aspect of enjoying those movies. I mean, I think they're great films without the nostalgia, but it's huge. It plays a big role.
Definitely.
So he literally fell to Earth.
Yeah. That was weird. Who was that guy that was watching him? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do, and the film never kind of goes back to that or explains it, right?
And he never comes back.
You think it's going to, because he's telling some people oh, no one saw me, and then it flashes back to that scene, but you just never hear. I mean, it doesn't play a role.
Yeah. I mean, the movie is all over the place in a way I've never seen before. So, but it is still weird how important that scene was kind of played almost.
Right.
Almost like a god watching something play out. Like he had some sort of control over what was about to happen.
Yeah.
That's kind of the vibes I got, but did we ever even see the actor again?
I don't think so. No. I mean, I don't even think it showed his face to begin with.
Yeah.
We don't know who that was. But I'm pretty sure that this film is about Elon Musk. I'm pretty sure this film is foretelling Elon Musk. This man comes to Earth, develops a technology company, makes a ton of money, right? That's his goal. That's so David Bowie plays Mr. Newton, right? Thomas Newton.
Right.
In this film. It's weird because he crash lands on Earth in a lake, and he's just British, and he he has an identity, he has a passport.
Yeah, it doesn't explain a whole lot in that regard. Bowie's signature eye thing, that was just a thing, right? It was already his thing before this movie.
No, he was born like that. That's legit. How David Bowie looks,
I honestly always assumed it was a look he was going for. So he was born that way.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. That's his own thing. Yeah. You know what's funny is Marilyn Manson, looks up to David Bowie and sees him as an inspiration for his work, but he puts a contact in sometimes and wears it in one eye, and it's
right.
I don't know, man. I guess, but no.
Yeah, as kind of a homage or to pay tribute or whatever.
Yeah.
But Yeah, okay. I always thought that David Bowie came up with a look and a bunch of other people were copying him. In reality, that's just what he looked like.
That's just what he looked like, yeah.
Right.
But, dude, okay, so throughout the film, I don't know if you caught on. You should have, because it was jarring and kind of confusing. A scene would happen and then kind of like repeat itself, but in like almost like a different reality, like a different outcome.
Right.
And it's just, I think the first scene that I noticed that is when the professor, who's played by Rip Torn, who I didn't know it was him at first.
Yeah, it took me a few scenes.
Yeah.
Right about the time, that fantastic cut scene of him with all his 18-year-olds.
Yeah. How about,
Jesus.
how about the scene where he's in bed with one of his students and you get to see Rip Torn's dick in this film.
Yes, you do.
She holds it and starts talking to it, right?
She really
and this
does,
is one of
yeah.
those scenes that I was talking about where it like cuts again because she talks to it and then it cuts back and then like it's like an alternate reality. Like she does it again but differently. Like some weird shit happens.
No. So there was like 3 or 4 girls in that scene.
Oh, that's what Are you sure?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
he has
those cuts are different students.
He has a type. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was all the same chick.
No, they weren't all the same chick. There was like 3 or 4 of them, and all of them were saying similar things about like about he's not the dirty old man. You're the dirty little girl.
Yeah, there's a really disturbing line where she's grabs his dick and she says, "Oh, you're nothing like my father."
Yeah, it's disgusting. Rip Torn is absolutely disgusting in this movie.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Then there's no context. They just like playfully, then they like get it on, right? Like it's like what?
Right. Big time. Yeah, and then at some point when he leaves his teaching job, he kind of addresses it again that his 2 biggest obsessions was like World Enterprises, David Bowie's character's company, and his other obsession has been 18-year-olds.
Right.
And he just doesn't have that need anymore now that he's gotten this new job.
Yeah, he
But
just drops it.
What a 70s movie, huh?
It was really bizarre, and there's a lot of nudity. I mean, off the bat, like I said, you see Rip Torn's dick, boobs galore.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I was like, oh, this movie's rated R. I really didn't anticipate that. I thought I was going to watch just like a legit science fiction film. I thought it was just going to be weird, goofy, like a Star Trek episode or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just wasn't that. It was really bizarre. I liked it a lot, though.
Did you?
I did, actually. What did you? Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it.
Right.
Like if we're talking like rewatchability, like I ain't diving in anytime soon.
I might watch it again. Jessica caught the tail end of it, and she wants to watch the beginning of it. Remember that one scene where it shows the professor again and one of his chicks, but like she puts a shirt over his face?
Yes. Yeah, that was striking to me because it was filmed like how you would perceive like from the perception of like a serial killer going after a victim. And they did that intentionally, but it was just foreplay.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't tell for a good while if they were having fun or if this was like a terrifying situation.
Right. Yeah, and it was filmed that way too. It was super jarring.
Right. And the director, I don't know what else he's directed, and I ain't talking shit, but I felt like the cut scenes in this film, or just when they would switch scenes and go to the next scene, were just very abrupt and bizarre. Like, it would just hit you like a freight train. Just like, that didn't belong there.
Well, I'm hoping this will kind of like kick some of these scenes in your head right now. Like, did you notice there was like these weird flashbacks where like the whole vibe of the scene went to like hillbilly music?
Yeah.
Like a couple times. And it's for the most part, the tone of this film is all pretty serious and eerie, you know? So when it gets to that, I'm like, I still don't understand what the reason for that was.
I don't either. Right. I know the specific scene you're talking about where it literally switches scenes and that music just kicks in right away. That banjo, bling, 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 you know, and you're just like, what?
Right.
Like you So I was reading up on the filming of this and the production of it, and I guess Bowie in an interview years later had said that he was coked out beyond all belief making this film during the filming of it. He said 10 grams a day, which
Oh
from
my God.
what I understand is a ridiculous amount. He probably should be dead. But
That's ridiculous. I mean, I guess so he wasn't acting. He was just being himself.
yeah, that's literally what he said. I didn't think, I thought his acting was pretty good.
No, I thought he was pretty great too. I didn't like Mary Lou that much.
Mary Lou was okay. I thought she was cute. That's about it.
Yeah, cute, and I don't even know if this is the fault of the actress. Like, if you watch a lot of older films, I think sometimes why they're hard for me to watch is the way, like, representation is talked about in Hollywood a lot right now, but I think that's some of the reason why some of those older films feel so weird to watch, because unless the right writer or director was on the scene, a lot of female characters are written to be really flat and pointless, and there's not much that's interesting about them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean.
And so I just didn't enjoy her very much.
No, I get you. And they make her look so haggard toward the end because apparently David Bowie, Thomas Newton in this film, he doesn't age, right? Because he's an alien. I mean, just time works
Right.
differently, or his body works differently. But everyone else around him ages, and it shows her aged, and they really did her up. I was reading like the Wikipedia page on it, and they described her as like clearly like just getting older and abusing alcohol. That was the look.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think definitely the weirdest scenes in the film all include her.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. The one where that chick grabs Rip Torn's pee-pee and says, "You're nothing like my father," is like probably all I'll remember. In a year from now, when I look back on this movie and be like, "Oh, that's that one movie," I'll remember that one scene. That'll be at the forefront of scenes I remember.
Rest in peace, Rip Torn.
Yeah. Oh, no pun intended?
No.
Damn. Rip.
Oh my God. All right. So one of the first characters we're introduced to after our main character, what Mr. Newton, right?
Yeah.
Tommy.
Tommy Newton.
Tommy. Oliver Farnsworth, who becomes his president and CEO.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about their introduction?
Oh man. Well, it was so jarring. Like the scenes he was in, and I was so confused. I didn't really know how the movie was trying to make me feel. I don't know if it was trying to make me laugh, if I was supposed to be like creeped out, or if
those
like
glasses, man.
Dude, they zoomed in on his eyes so much. He looked like such a goofball. And there's like one scene where Tom Newton, he's like, "Don't you trust me?" or something along those lines. And then it flashes to him in those glasses, just like staring at the camera. It's like, no, I don't. It's so bizarre.
Yeah, as soon as I saw him, it's immediately comedic, which kind of makes me feel bad because there was a time, and maybe some people with really bad vision do now, have those super intense Coke bottle glasses. It looks like they're wearing a mirror.
Dude, I straight up, I was alone and I laughed out loud hard for a long time when two of those scenes with him, because then there's another scene where like David Bowie is talking and it cuts to him blowing a spit bubble from his tongue.
Okay. So first, have you seen Trailer Park Boys?
No, but
Okay.
I know some of the characters, yeah.
So yeah, so one of the characters in that show, he has the same look going, man. And that character's name in the show is Bubbles.
That's perfect, man.
It is perfect.
This guy, this
The
was not
spit bubble.
Farnsworth, it was Bubbles.
It was Bubbles. So the spit bubble, that was his reaction. That was like the most cartoonish decision I think I've ever seen in a live film with actors, because it was him reacting to being offered what it was like 10% of his income, or like 5% of his enterprise or his business,
Something like that. Yeah.
controlling interest in his business. And he was just flabbergasted by the sheer idea of having that much money. But like the spit bubble was crazy.
We're gonna post it on our social media. Check it out.
We have to,
because talking about it just doesn't give it justice. It's one of the most bizarre scenes in a movie I think I've ever seen. I rewound it a few times because I was like, wait, what? What I'm thinking. So this movie's based on a novel, right? So
Right.
I'm thinking that the novelization really got into detail about this character Farnsworth and like really described his glasses and his eyes and like his mannerisms and oddities, right? So in one scene, I assume in the novel he blows a spit bubble, but I don't think it was supposed to be like a focal point, like first person view. Like the bubble went toward the camera, you know? It's just so weird.
How did they do that? Was that on accident? Did it just happen and the director was just like, well, that was kind of funny. Let's leave it.
Yeah. And if not, how many takes did that require?
I don't know. Was that spit bubble remote controlled?
I don't know.
It had a life of its own, man.
It was so bizarre. Oh, man. I mean, but it followed suit with the rest of the movie, kind of. I mean, maybe not the same tone, but the bizarreness of it, because it was a really bizarre film. And I had trouble following this one and what was going on. I didn't really know what was happening until kind of later on in the film. And I actually had to read about it, about the plot, to fully understand it, because I was like, okay, does David Bowie like experiencing like different lives or different dimensions all at once? Because with the hillbilly music you were talking about, there's like one scene where he's like looking out at an open field, but he sees like these like cowboys, right? Or like these like Okies like hanging out. And
Yeah, I think we're missing a lot. I think from the start of the film, time passes very quickly without letting you know.
right.
So I don't think they're like different lifetimes at once. I think he's been on the planet for a very long time. And so he's experienced different people and has watched others die.
Oh, that's very interesting. So when you first see him crash land in that lake, that's like back in the day.
Right. And then when you're seeing him walk around the beach and then eventually he ends up in town, I think he had already been there for like, I don't know how long, but a very long time.
You're right, because he went and pawned off a ring, and it later showed that he had like a collection of rings. It looked like at least like 100, right? Around this
So
like
he had
necklace.
spent lifetimes there.
Interesting. That
I don't even think I had put that together though, the ring part.
yeah.
But I think you're totally right about that. I think that supports it.
That's bizarre, man. What a trip. I mean, I'm realizing this for the first time live.
That's interesting because at some point in the movie, this is a huge leap. There's a scene with Mary Lou where Mary Lou just kind of says, like, what's the point? Why do you want to go back? What does your planet have that our planet can't give you?
Right.
And she was just talking about because, you know, their planet has suffered from, they don't have water.
Yeah, they're going through a drought.
So trying to convince him to leave, and then she kind of turns back and just like, "Oh, your family. I know it. We don't have your family." And then she says something about like, "Don't you think they're going to be dead by the time you could make it back anyways?" And we don't know that because we don't know how long he lives. But I think based off of that ring thing,
Yeah.
I mean, I assume he's been there like over 100 years.
It's got to be.
Hundreds.
Yeah.
So yeah, his family probably is still alive, and he still has the chance to go back.
It's so bizarre. And that ship he was creating that he was showing the doctor.
I thought it was cool.
I thought it was cool too, but I thought like he was just trying to get back home. But he was looking for a way to bring water back to his planet.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I read about that, but I didn't get that in the movie.
Same. Yeah, I didn't either at all.
I feel like they didn't. I mean, as far as storytelling goes, they didn't blatantly come out and say that, right? You just have to make that assumption.
Yeah, they didn't say that at all.
I like some other more subtle things about the film, like his his interest in trains and how they fascinate him, and then eventually you see that some weird version of what he would compare as a train on his planet he left his family on.
Yeah.
I kind of thought that was a nice little touch.
That is cool. Yeah, that weird triangular looking
what
contraption.
Was that thing? That was
I don't know.
bizarre.
Yeah, it was all really weird. It was weird too toward the end, like when he was gonna finally. So I mean, right before the launch, he's kidnapped, right? Where he finally like makes his way back, and I was like, is he being kidnapped by who? I didn't.
The government.
The government, and from what I've read, rival business people.
Yes, parts of the government and like higher business interests, because the government was trying to get in on World Enterprises, and they kept saying no.
Oh, right.
You remember the one agent coming to talk to what's his name? Farnsworth, Oliver Farnsworth.
Yeah.
And then they throw his ass out the window.
Yeah, but it took 2 tries.
It did. It was so awkward.
It was so awkward to like add that in.
Hey, I'm just remembering this, but the first time they throw him against the window and it like breaks it, but he doesn't fall through. Do you remember Oliver apologizes?
Yeah, he does apologize. Like, I'm sorry about that. Like, why did he apologize? Like,
I have no idea.
For not going through the window, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like, sorry.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. I'm sorry for the bother.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you got to throw again.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I'm not heavier.
Take a breather. Dude, it's so bizarre. And the water thing makes sense. The drought on his planet and him collecting water, like, it now makes sense why, like, in the very beginning, remember it shows him like drinking that cup and he's just like gulping it down.
Yeah.
And he's like, what's he like? Is he just like, what is that? I thought he was drinking some kind of, I don't know what he was drinking. What was he putting in his drinks throughout the movie? It's like,
I have no idea.
I
just thought he was obsessed with water in the beginning, and I thought it was going to have to do with his anatomy, that it was good for him. But I guess thinking back, it was maybe just an obsession with a resource he had gone without for so long.
Yeah, I think that's what it was, because then he replaced water with booze.
With booze, yeah. And I assumed either booze did nothing to him or it would make him sick, but then he becomes an alcoholic, so...
Right.
He was just trying to abstain from things of that planet that would distract him.
Right. What did you think about the scene when Rip Torn has a meeting with him in his house and he sets up that hidden camera to take a picture of Tommy Newton, and when he develops it, it like shows like,
all those weird layers?
Yeah, like auras or something, just layers to him. I was like, because at first as I was watching it, I thought maybe he was experiencing like different dimensions simultaneously. That's what I was saying, because when he like looked at the past and saw the future too. But you know, we explained that with he's probably been there a long time. But I had thought that he was like existing in multiple like instances, and I thought that's why he could watch so many TVs at once too. Like there's
that concept that you're talking about is about as trippy as this movie was filmed.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't put it past it to be that. Yeah, I think he's just been on the planet for a long time. But that would be interesting. See, I don't know. Like, I think for me, I think there's a lot of things in the movie that maybe there's not an explicit reason.
Right.
It just is what it is. Like, this is the design we decided to show that he's an alien or something other than human.
Yeah.
But that's interesting.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Did you know this? I know you're a fan of Philip K. Dick, the author, right?
Yeah. Valis?
Yeah.
Yeah, I read a little bit about that Valis was like kind of like inspired by the original book, right?
From what I read, it was that Philip K. Dick based the novel's story on his and Jeter's real obsession with the man who fell to Earth.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
There's a lot of little fun connections to other films for this that I thought was interesting and surprising. Like, I didn't realize how much influence this had on other projects, you know?
Right.
Like, apparently Michael Fassbender in, I think it's Prometheus. What year did that come out?
Yeah, that was
2012.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, Michael Fassbender based his acting of that character, or his development of that character, on David Bowie's performance in this film.
Right. Yeah.
Which I
super
thought
cool.
was cool, and I can totally see it now. Like through some of the scenes, you watch Michael Fassbender kind of like he has very specific detail on his hair and the way he moves and does certain things. And yeah, like now that I've seen this movie and like read that, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I see it. That's cool.
It'd be cool to go back and rewatch just to realize it.
Yeah, definitely.
And then apparently David Bowie in 2015 wrote a musical called Lazarus, which is a sequel or continues the story, right, of the man who fell to Earth.
Yeah, I think that's really cool because I would like more. I'm like some sort of substantial ending to his arc.
Yeah,
because we didn't. I mean, it's kind of disappointing to me.
Yeah, no, for sure. He's just right. He's stuck on Earth, just a drunk, right? Kind of.
Yeah.
But he's still rich.
Still rich. He wrote an album that he's hoping through radio waves will get to his wife and his family at some point.
I thought that was really cool.
I thought that was cool too.
And the way they played music. Do you remember that one scene where they took like that ball, that sphere, and put it on this like floating dome and covered it? And then it would play the music. I was like, that's an interesting concept.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I was kind of curious. Was that like, what is that? Was that a thing?
I don't think so. I think that was just made up for this movie.
For the film.
And I think, with the technology that Tommy Newton and his company have developed, like it was based on that. Like he had all this advanced kind of stuff. I don't think, right? I'm telling you, this movie, it was the precursor and the foretelling of Elon Musk. Come on, man. It's the same story. This guy has weird...
Can we talk about his relationship with Mary Lou a bit? Because it's a big chunk of this film, and there's a lot of interesting moments. I mean, how about like that sensual sex scene where Mary Lou gets a telescope? Like they have this sensual sex scene where like you see all of Mary Lou and most of Bowie.
Right.
And then afterwards, he gives her a gift, and it's this telescope that in my head, I'm like, this is for you, right?
Right.
And then,
babe, I bought this Xbox for you.
Right, exactly.
I got you the PS5.
Right, it's like me buying a nice ass blanket for my girlfriend, and now I'm using it all the time.
Yeah. Hey, you're giving away our tricks, man. We gotta cut this.
Yeah, but then they go out, and she says something like, "Oh, you're such a nice man," and he goes, "No, I'm not."
Yeah.
And in my head, I don't think he's saying he's not nice. He's admitting that he's an alien, right?
Yeah, because from what I understand, like they kind of don't feel anything, right? It kind of made it seem like he can't hate or love. He actually says it verbally. Like I think Mary Lou says, like, "Oh, like you hate me, huh?" And he says, "I can't."
Oh yeah, I could never hate you.
I don't think it's like I can never hate you thing. I think it's like he can't, like physically can't. I don't know. He has the same emotion.
He misses his family. He wants his wife and his kids, right? Yeah, he's pretty focused on that still, like saving them.
Maybe it's not necessity though. Maybe it's just nature, you know?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
But there are some bizarre scenes with her. Do you remember when he finally reveals himself to her?
Yes.
Right? And there's this weird close-up, like it zooms in on Mary Lou's underwear and her pissing herself.
Yeah, it was very
obscene.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Right.
Like they clearly either she actually pissed herself or they had to build something to put underneath her underwear, because I'm sure that didn't happen in one take.
Right. And this is the second film we've watched and talked about in a row where someone pisses themselves and we get a nice close-up. That happened in Unhinged, too.
Oh
no. We're subconsciously picking these films.
But, oh my God. But this one just, like, it was jarring to me because you saw the way it zoomed in and you saw the stream push out her panties. Like... that's probably not comfortable to listen to, so I apologize.
Everyone just go watch it because I'm telling you right now, that was more uncomfortable to listen to than see.
Is that true? I apologize.
Pushing it through her panties. The imagery.
Oh, man. At the end of the day, this dude's just trying to get back to his family,
Right. Just like Elon Musk, man. He's trying to get back home to Mars. I'm telling you.
Oh, man. There's so many scenes throughout the film with Tommy and Mary Lou where, like, one of them is just losing their goddamn mind.
Right.
Because they're both just, like, raging alcoholics. All they do is have sex and drink.
Yeah. And okay, so remember when he does reveal himself and it shows that he like doesn't have a penis, right? It's just like there's nothing down there. So like what
the butt's like mostly like sealed too.
I love the butt is sealed.
He Ken dolls himself.
Yeah, man. So when he's having sex, I mean, does he just have like a skin suit type thing or just like
I think so.
Like some mechanical shit? You get to you actually see David Bowie's dick in this film too.
Yeah, do you though? That's my question.
Like, is it
it's
his?
Not important, but is it his? Probably. He didn't make somebody else whop it or get it out, right? He did it himself.
what was about?
If you're about to ask me what word I was trying to attempt to say, I don't know.
I think you're trying to say whip it out.
Yeah, I think I was trying to say whip it out. This is not a good conversation. But I think he did.
I think it was his. So if you're interested in to see what David Bowie's genitals look like, this is the film for you.
So Dr. Bryce, in the film, when Dr. Bryce first meets Tommy, David Bowie's character, it's not their actual meeting day. It's the night before. And I thought it was hilarious because he pops up out of nowhere while Dr. Bryce is fishing late at night and they're supposed to meet the next morning. And he pops up out of nowhere in some sort of dream state. And he says, "Tomorrow, Dr. Bryce, like, you can trust me," or like, don't be paranoid or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, well, the last thing in the world you probably should have done if you wanted him to trust you was pop up out of nowhere and disappear like that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
He was fine. He wasn't suspicious, but now he is.
Yeah.
I would be.
He was chilling. He was fishing, man. Just having a good time on the lake. See, but this was another scene where I thought maybe there were multiple layers to David Bowie, like where he was existing in multiple dimensions or something, because the previous scene to him showing up at the lake was him in bed sleeping.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's dressed differently and behind Rip Torn or Dr. Bryce.
Yeah, I mean, you might be right.
I don't know.
This movie's trippy as hell, so you might be right. One of my notes while I was watching this movie that I wrote, and I think it was just trying to track with some of the story that was being told. I wrote, "Here comes the government trying to get involved in their business affairs. Tommy is trying to leave Mary Lou. Tells her, without telling her, that he can't stay. He'll die. He's being literal, and she doesn't understand that. Mary Lou is now acting like a fucking psychopath. Can't let him go. Cookies?" Bowie hits the tray into the air. Is he intentionally trying to appear angry?
Right. I thought that, right? He's like trying to push her away, piss her off or something. Dude, like...
Yeah, was that his attempt at a human emotion?
Maybe, because they emphasize it. Those cookies fly in slow motion.
I got a question for you, because you are probably more qualified to talk about this than I am. You know a little bit more about guns. That's not how blanks work, correct? There's this weird-ass sex scene towards the end where he loads blanks into a gun and they have, like, some sort of weird sex for danger play with a gun shooting blanks at each other.
Right.
But that would fuck you up.
I think so. I don't know fully how blanks work, you know, but...
You can't put a gun to somebody's head with a blank and have it... Like, you might actually kill them, I think.
I don't
right?
I don't know in that regard, but I think what happens is there's just no bullet, but like it still catches fire, right? And makes the bang. Like it still ignites. That's what makes that sound. I think if it doesn't kill you, it would still hurt you. If it was that close, the way they were shooting each other, like up to the head, like straight to the forehead, the temple.
That was a problem.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he should have just said he had a cap gun. Damn it.
Whatever. It was an interesting scene. It was a weird scene.
When you were a kid, did you like the smell of cap guns? Like
Loved it.
Yeah, right. What is it about?
Probably
that?
still do.
Yeah, I haven't smelled a cap in a while. Anyways,
Got to get on that cap, man.
I'm gonna order some on Amazon right now.
Hey, one thing I didn't mention that I did want to mention about Farnsworth, when he was killed, why did those dudes have to be wearing those shiny helmets?
I have no idea. Those motorcycle helmets.
Yeah, like they were two different sizes, and they accidentally mixed them up at first, so you had to watch that happen.
Yeah.
Where they had to trade, helmets, and they were like sparkly, and it's like, was that part of their disguise?
I think it was just I think just to hide their identity because it was like shaded glass, right? And that they were wearing.
Yeah. Well, I wish they would have done something different.
Yeah. Again, this is based on a novel, and I can't help but think that was probably a scene in the novelization of this or in the book, but it was a scene that didn't necessarily need to be adapted to the screen. Same with the spit bubble. Like I feel like those were in the book, and it was like you could have left that out, and you should have.
Right.
I don't know. I'm pretty happy about that spit bubble. I don't think
it's
think
hilarious.
That was a highlight. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I don't know, just the way they play with time and like how many years pass by without them really telling you what's going on. You just kind of have to guess.
Yeah.
Is a lot. I mean, like when you run into Mary Lou down the line, and she's with Dr. Bryce, and he's trying to get them to like help him. There's a scene where like he's in the doctor's and Dr. Bryce walks in, so he was clearly like a part of taking him in.
Yeah, and that bummed me out.
Yeah, it bummed me out too. And he turns to him, and I forgot what his first name is, whatever, but he was calling his name Nate, maybe. Anyways, he was calling his name for help, and he was clearly one of the people behind it. But I thought it was interesting. I liked the bit of dialogue where I think it's Dr. Bryce, like, I don't know if asked for forgiveness or, but Tommy kind of says something about like he doesn't hold it against us as a planet.
Yeah.
He was like, if you would have come to mind, we probably would have treated you the same way.
Right.
I thought that was an interesting piece of dialogue and kind of story for it.
So did I. I thought there was a lot of cool little pieces of dialogue in this film. There's one dialogue that I really liked with Bowie when Thomas says, "We know that like everything begins and ends in eternity." When he's like,
that's like a great line.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, his concept of time too. I guess. I mean, does he live forever? Is that what they're implying?
I don't know. Yeah. I'm not going to pretend to. But it's a nice concept.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. What would you...
But go ahead.
No.
Oh, man. We need to look into this production that was supposed to be a sequel to this because I want more of the character now that we've talked about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to know what happened.
Me too.
Did he ever get that skin suit off? Or are they permanently on there because of that stupid optometrist?
Yeah, right? That the X-ray permanently put those contacts on his eyes, yeah?
Yeah, he was very upset. He was like, no, I can never take them off. The weird thing that struck me, the weird thing about that is you could almost, because they did that, now people can just say he's crazy because he can't prove it.
That's true. Well, those are just his eyes. What if he takes his dick off?
Wow. I don't know why.
And seals his butt back up.
I don't know, man. I thought there's something about his eyes. Is that just contacts? Is that all? Everything else can come off? I don't know.
I don't know either. he has those reptilian eyes. Oh, is he a shapeshifter? Is that what it is?
I'm not going to pretend to know.
He's a shapeshifter.
So, what's your rating?
Man, oh man. I have to take into account the year it was made. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10.
Okay. Honestly, I'm talking enjoyment here. I think it's an interesting sci-fi, an important one to watch. I think David Bowie did great. I think I really liked Rip Torn in it. I think he was one of the strongest performances in the movie. But I'm going to give it a 4.
Ooh, ouch. Okay.
it wasn't that fun for me. It was just really weird. And I guess David Bowie is probably what I've enjoyed most about it. Like I do think he did a great job, but it was long and ominous, and it didn't make me feel good.
It was long, and David Bowie did do a great job. Yeah, I mean, my enjoyment of it, I like the really bizarre, almost nonsensical things, you know? And there's cool concepts that come through in the movie. There's cool dialogue. It has its moments, you know, it has its little gems in there. But yeah, overall, I want more context. We're going to try to track down Lazarus and watch that. It's based on a book, too. I guess there's a coinciding book with Lazarus, the stage play.
Interesting. We got to check it out, and we'll do a follow-up episode.
Let's do it. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Did you watch it? Did anybody watch it? Let us know what you think if you did.
Bye, everyone. Peace.
Goodbye.